Keep in mind that the NFL draft is not the end of the line for any potential NFL players of the future. Free agents will hit camps and be able to earn a job, such as Reggie Floyd at Virginia Tech. We got Mike McDaniel on the line from allhokies.com to talk Reggie Floyd's signing with the Arizona Cardinals. Mike, how you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Mark? How are you?
I'm doing well. So Reggie Floyd, obviously an interesting prospect in regards to his position transitioning to the NFL. With the Cardinals and trying to earn a spot after he finished third on the team in tackles in 2019.
Yeah, Reggie Floyd's a real interesting guy because Virginia Tech had a number of guys who were draft eligible coming out this year in the 2020 NFL draft. And the question for a lot of these guys was, okay, they were able to do a lot of things well at the college level, but how would that translate to the NFL level? It's the same question that everybody asks when evaluating prospects. Dalton Keene obviously was picked in the third round by the New England Patriots. He's a guy who went much higher than some people expected, at least in the mock drafts, sliding up into the end of the third round. Bill Belichick trading 3 picks to go get him. That was obviously very significant and well talked about, obviously, over the last couple of days within the Hokie Twitter sphere, so to speak. The one other thing I'll allude to is that, without Dalton Keene, I'm not sure any Virginia Tech Hokie was really draft ready. And I think that was evidenced as, the draft went along, even like the seniors. You talk about Reggie Floyd, you talk about Ryan Willis, the former quarterback for Virginia Tech. Jovan Quillen was another guy who played safety for Virginia Tech in more of a reserve role that was draft eligible. He hasn't been picked or picked up by any team that I'm aware of so far. And then the one other guy who came out with 1 year of eligibility remaining was Deshaun McClease, a running back. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Virginia Tech had brought in a couple of transfer running backs that were going to enter the fold. A couple talented freshmen are coming in as well. The number of carries that Deshaun McClease would have received at Virginia Tech was probably going to be waning a bit coming into this year. So he felt like this was going to be the best opportunity for him to make it to the next level. But unfortunately, McClease was also a guy who went undrafted. So Reggie Floyd, I think out of all the seniors and the draft eligible guys, not named Dalton Keene, I think Floyd was the most NFL ready. Now, with that being said, he's obviously been very good against the run. He's had a very productive career at Virginia Tech, playing the rover position in the secondary, a guy who's very willing and able against the run, a very good tackler, a guy who's physical, a guy who always does his job. But I think the one place where he struggled and where Virginia Tech's defensive scheme has tried to hide him a little bit is in pass coverage. He's not the best pass defender on the team. He really struggled in coverage quite frequently. It's a big reason why he slipped and was undrafted. He was a guy who I thought might be able to go in the 6th or 7th round, ends up going undrafted. But essentially, right as the draft ended, he announced on Twitter that he had signed a free agent deal with the Arizona Cardinals. So I think he was a guy who a lot of teams had in that 7th round range towards the end of the draft, and they were considering picking Reggie Floyd. Ultimately found guys who might have been a little bit better value at the end of the draft that they felt like giving a little bit more guaranteed money to than Reggie Floyd. But he slips out of the draft, doesn't, obviously moves into free agency. And, he's a guy who, goes to the Arizona Cardinals where, in my opinion, he's going to have to make an impact on special teams, Mark, if he wants to make this roster. A lot of these undrafted guys need to go that avenue to do so. That's something that he did in the early part of his career at Virginia Tech. Reggie Floyd did play a lot of special teams for the Hokies, so I think he'll be able to carve out a role there if he performs well enough in training camp, whenever that ends up taking place with this pandemic we have going on. But I think Reggie Floyd does have an opportunity to potentially make the roster. At the very least, I think he'll be on the practice squad and have a chance if somebody on the team goes down. But he's going to have to show that he can improve in pass coverage, and he's going to have to carve out a role on special teams to make that happen.
And just to wrap up his career with the Hokies, where he really filled out the box score across the board. He played a lot of football, 38 games, mostly starting at Virginia Tech, 72, 80, and 69 total tackles the last 3 years. Adds up to 222. I got to think that's roughly top 20 in the history of the program. 14 and a half tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, 5 picks as well. And he's got a pick 6 to his credit as well back in 2017. Mike, we appreciate you stopping by, breaking down Virginia Tech football. Of course, join Mike on allhokies.com and lock it in here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, for college football discussion, debate, and analysis every day. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.